about to put you on. Come on, come on, come on. How you want it, cognac or Patron? Brush with the boys, we gon' give you what you want. And what you don't know, we about to put you on. Yes, we are the trending topic. We relationship prophets. Brunch with the boys, we the hottest. Brunch with the boys, we the hottest.
Boy, King Jess here, another episode of Brunch with the Boys. What's going on, gentlemen? How we doing this evening?
Jezzy, what's good, everybody?
Hey, it's Mr. Gent out here, man. Still got my cup up.
Yeah.
So I got my drink in my cup.
Yeah.
Shout out to that Cassidy.
Yeah, so we got
a special guest, right?
Yeah, we got a loyal listener as well that would love to join us at the kitchen table, and I appreciate her in advance and the courage based off of the topic we're going to talk about as well. She's going to go by Casey, and Casey, thank you. Welcome to the kitchen. Welcome to brunch.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, tell us a little bit about yourself, Case. I mean, where are you from? You know what I'm saying, and how you feeling today?
So I'm from Houston, and I'm feeling wonderful. I don't know about the topic. It's okay, but I'm here to inform people, and hopefully I can help someone out.
Of course.
We definitely want to keep shit real. Share what you're comfortable sharing, but I also want us to not lose focus of what the topic is. So let's get to it. I want to talk about why the bar for men have been set so low by women. And
you think that's the case?
Oh my gosh, nigga, the bar is low.
No, you're right about that.
Let's go right into some things. I found an article that I thought was funny that said things that women say to show just how low the bar is for men. The first thing that came up was, he's babysitting tonight. Nigga, them your kids, nigga. How you babysitting them niggas? You know what I'm saying? Like how you baby? And though that's the worst part. These are things that men are getting credit for worldwide. Like, yeah, he stayed home with the kids while I got my nails done. Seriously? Unless they're your stepkids, you don't deserve any fucking credit, bro. You know what I'm saying? So let's just get it real. So that was the first one. The second one was he did the dishes.
How many
niggas getting the pussy because they did the dishes tonight? Seriously.
I mean, I think it would be a little bit more excessive than do the dishes. If a dude cleans the whole house by himself and y'all are splitting 50-50 duties, and he took it upon himself as his old girl came home and she came home to spring cleaning of the entire house. Yeah, some draws should be.
First of all, like what y'all talking about? First of all, let me tell you something. You should clean your fucking house because it's your house and you want it clean, right? It shouldn't be any expectation of pussy. Your girl should give you pussy because you're a nigga that's handling his business in life, and that's part of her fucking responsibilities.
Agreed.
So I'm not getting no pussy because I cleaned the house. I'm getting the pussy whether or not I clean the house. So,
but let's keep reality though. The bar is set so low for men. I think that's why the dishes matters. I was watching 90 Day Fiance. Yes, I low-key watched that show. And one thing this Asian said, who was married to this fat-ass white man, who I don't know why she would fuck him, and she calls it boom boom.
Which she wanted her papers, man.
She claims she loved his ass, but anyway, she said calls it boom boom. Buddy does the dishes. She said, "Oh, thank you, baby. I give you boom boom the way you want it tonight." This is an Asian culture, a woman who came over here, nigga, 2 weeks ago. And it's already understood, probably universally, that when you help, you get this. Quid pro quo in a relationship. And the bar is set so low for men that doing the dishes, nigga, can't get you the draws because the bar is so low. So let's ask Casey, before we get with the deep shit, are these simple day-to-day tasks magnified in a woman's eyes?
Not in this woman's eyes.
Well, damn.
Not at all. I kind of agree with Mr. Elliott. For me, I feel like everything should be split 50-50. But if I'm in a relationship, it might be sometimes that I don't want to have sex, but because I'm in a relationship, I'm gonna go ahead and do it because I feel like that's my part of my job. As well as I feel like sometimes he may not want to have sex with me, but he might be tired, but he does it because it's his job. Oh. But you won't get the pussy, especially in a special way, if you take out the trash and wash a dish. That doesn't make my pussy wet at all.
You know what the next comment was that I found funny, Gent, and you tell me, because I know how Des feel about this, because he and I are more real niggas in this way. But it said he didn't try to hit it on the first date. I know that's really up your alley. So, you know, when a nigga don't try to hit it the first date and doesn't show that aggression towards the pussy, he's like a great guy.
First off, you're not going to keep trying me like that.
No, that's the truth, though. That's the truth. Don't do that.
Between Dez and Jeezy, bruh, I'm telling you, y'all trying to like straight sex shame a brother because and demasculate a nigga just because he ain't out here trying to hit it out the park date one. That's not fair, and I take offense to that. That's my first point. Okay, digest that. Okay. Secondly, I think that you should listen. Every woman knows most typical men are in it to win it for one purpose most times. I mean, if they're really not trying to find the one, and they're not in the game for the one, and they're just out there sowing wild oats, they know exactly what's about to go down. So for a woman, if a man is not chasing that one thing, then they feel like, God dang, I might have a different type of nigga on my hand. That's as simple. I don't know if it needs to be praised, but I know immediately their mindset is like, maybe he's not he's not like the others. That's all it is. I don't know if it's an excessive praise. What do you think?
So a couple of things. I want to address both of your points. First and foremost, I don't think that my intention or the intention of Jeezy was to demasculate you or shame you in any way. I think our point is that there's niggas that fuck bitches and there's niggas that take bitches out. And no, I'm not. Listen, don't take it that way. Don't take it that way. But I'm saying like you might fall into a different category, but that doesn't make you any less of a man than us. My second point is I think so. You know, this whole point about the bar being set so low for men. I think who notices it more than your typical man is your guy that have all of those points, or most of those points that most women want, right? He finds it extremely easy because the bottom barrel nigga, he's just trying to get a bitch to want him, right? So he's still out here working hard. But that guy who would have had it easy with women, if the bar was set even a little bit higher, he's out here winning with very minimal effort. And that's the problem, right? That guy, that ideal guy that every woman wants, he's out there. And there's plenty of those guys. The problem, young ladies and older ladies and women of all kinds, is that every woman wants that nigga. Black, white, Spanish, old, young, they all want him. And so that's the difficulty. Do you take a nigga that nobody wants? Or do you take somebody that everybody wants and hopes he wants you in return?
And that's really what it is. Hope he wants you in return. It's amazing how the tides have turned. And we spoke about this before. When we're young, girls have the power. They got the pussy, and you're almost controlled by the idea of them giving it to you. True. And now as we become older men, established, and maybe even better looking now than we were then, and it really is funny how the control has come back to us now. So we're in a position of power. We can say no to 6 bad bitches, and on the 10th bad bitch we okay. Whereas to me, I think the typical woman, and I'm not gonna say there aren't exceptions, because there's really bad bitches on their shit, but the typical woman who has had kids maybe, and she's 34 on the back end of her situation, though she's slacking in so many ways, she knows she can't really get this nigga unless she buck up on some luck shit. I think luck has a lot to do with it. I think timing has a lot to do with shit. And really, honestly, real shit, women need to be more grateful. There's a lot of hoes that got good niggas. And honestly, if they were to look at it and examine the situation, they should be like, damn, I don't even know how I got this nigga based on what I'm offering. You're not offering anything greater. A nigga can get 10 hoes to do what you're doing, but what are you doing that's different for him? And that's the truth. And I'm curious again, because we've been asking every guest this. Casey,
let Casey ride on that. Casey, how do you feel about what Jeezy's saying? First and foremost, I think kind of talk about and address the whole point of if a man doesn't, try to sex you down, meet one, but also what Jeezy's saying right now.
So it's true that if we meet someone that is not trying to sex us down, on the first date, the second date, or what have you, that you do start to think that, he's a different type of dude. But there is some of us, like me, who I might be trying to sex you down on the first date.
Hey!
And like that, I'm just not that kind of female that feels like that matters to me. Like I'm like, oh no, he didn't try to sex me on the first date, so he is just perfect for me, or he's the one. I don't think like that because like I said, it's been plenty of times that I didn't have sex with someone on the first date and didn't call him back. So.
Damn. So you out here doing niggas like that too. Really, they say we get what we deserve. You know what I'm saying? They say we get what we deserve. You know what I'm saying?
Savage.
That's tough,
I
right?
I feel like you guys can do it. Why can't I? Let me say this. When I meet someone, I know instantly if it's gonna go anywhere or if it's gonna just be what it is. So therefore, it's a lot of times. I mean, and I've been told that I think like a nigga, and I don't know. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But it's a lot of times that I go out with them just so I can go out and have a good time, whatever, fuck him and not call him back. Whatever. It is what it is.
You're using them too. You're using them too.
So maybe I get what I deserve, he get what he deserves, or I get what I want, he get what he want, and we move on.
Would you agree, Des, that that's a part of the problem? That because there are women who are, by all intents and purposes, just doing what they do, rightfully so, they're making it to the point where now a man is expecting that vibe out there. Now he knows the bar, really, why should he go harder than this, that, or the other one? Really, he kind of is looking for those women, a woman that's just getting it in for the night.
Yeah, like I would say like
bar. I mean, come on, you can tell or who's out there looking for something real and who's not. So
no, you don't.
The problem is you go and meet these women that are looking for more, and you trying to give them the same shit that the other girl would have given you. You know what I mean? You could have given the other girl, or could have been with the other person, without a problem. Like these girls, some girls are looking for more than that, and they get the man that's not, and he knows that, but he still continue to try and lie and bullshit his way through.
So you don't really know then. So in the way you kind of can't, you can't really know.
You never really know. And let me tell you something.
I feel like you know. If you meet a girl, you can tell right away, just like we can tell right away if they're out for something more serious or if they're out for a good time. I feel
Not
like
always.
Not out the gate. Not out the gate.
Let me tell you something.
Always.
You know what I show you. And let me tell you something. Like I guess for a lot of lame niggas and niggas that don't really have the expertise and the tools to be able to weave the picture they want to present, yeah, that's easy, right? You'll know from the jump. You'll know what I show you. You'll know what I tell you, and you'll know what I present to you. And I'm not saying that to be a prick or to try to be a player, but what I'm saying is, like Jesus said before, when I was in my 20s, man, I'm looking for like who trying to give me some pussy, right? She's special, right? Now,
she's special.
Like, I might not even want your pussy. You know what?
For real.
I'm not interested. You know what I'm saying? And I think, let me tell you something. A lot of chicks is not used to that. I think a very well experienced man, a well trained man, what he's gonna do, and my friends, Jezzy and Gent like to say this is manipulation on my part, but I tend to think it is using the information at hand to create an environment that is most beneficial to myself. Right.
That is an intellectual way of saying that.
Selfish as that.
But you know what? That's what it is, right? Because here's the thing. If I know she likes certain things, if I know she's from a certain area, and I know these are things she likes to do in her free time, maybe she hasn't told me, maybe I did a little check-in, you know what I'm saying? Social media is a motherfucker nowadays. And I play my cards right, and I do all this shit, and I create situations where I know she's going to have a good time. Yes, I am using information to get to the pussy quicker if that is my intent. But I don't think it's a manipulation, because I think if I create an environment for her where she feels so comfortable and having such a vibe time that she wants to give it to me, then maybe I sped that up a little bit. But that's how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to do things that the girls like, and they spend time with you while they're doing the things
attention.
that they like, and then yeah, exactly. And then if they like you enough, they give you the pussy. Like that's not rocket science. I'm just good at rocket.
It's manipulation if that's not manipulation.
What'd you say?
What is manipulation if that's not manipulation?
I guess I kind of stated where I was on it. I don't think that's manipulation.
Can I even answer for you too? To call that manipulation is so childish in my opinion, because we're all adults out here and it's a fucking game. The life, nigga, is a game. Love is a game. There's risks and reward and all this shit. So to go out here and say he's manipulating because he was attentive and you said this and he did that. Yes, he did that. He's responsible for that. You told him that. You're responsible for that. But if he's playing you and that's what it took to get you, I mean, you're responsible for what you allow to happen. That nigga didn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just think that we can't say, oh man, you set me up. Well, listen, you know, all I did was play it the way it goes. You
gave me the pussy.
I'm giving you what you like, and vice versa. But I think to Dez's point, you never really know a nigga's true intentions. And to be fair to men worldwide, ladies, niggas don't always know their own true intention. We start off one way today, great intentions, right? Right, fellas? Like, yeah, nigga, I'm gonna save this hoe, nigga. Great intention. And nigga, 2 days later, man, you know what I'm saying? So some of the shit that you experience is just a byproduct of us and our uncertainty. And if we really wanted you, then guess what? We'd be at you. So, you know, take that mixed signal as a signal.
And I want us to move on right after this because we can keep going on that piece. But to both of y'all points, I think, man, manipulation really depends on the intent, like you're talking about, right? So if the intent is malicious, man, then you know you on bullshit, right? And therefore, you know, that's a totally different feel on someone who has great intentions or someone who is trying to discover their intentions as they move along. But I mean, and that's a whole nother podcast, man. And Des, you can lead that with a strong fist in the air. But let's continue.
I think I might join that support group. I mean, you know, I thought I was a founding member, but you know, I really thought this shit, man. I hate to say it's so easy. Any nigga not getting play. Pay attention, dog. You ask 5-6 questions, you take that and run with it. You know what I mean? But again, intention is important. I'm past the stage of trying to get the pussy. Like, that pussy really, you know, I probably don't want the pussy. You know what I mean? Like,
trying to get the vibe at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the vibe, man. And I care more about the vibe moving forward than I care about any pussy. Or hey, I can teach you how to suck this dick. You know what I'm saying? I can't teach you how to vibe, ho. I can't. So,
but you could teach her how to Dougie, though.
So I do want to talk about the kind of reasons why the bar has been set so low. And, you know, I definitely want, obviously, Casey's opinion on this, but physical abuse was one of the reasons. And I want to share a file, if I can. I'm over here trying to get fancy with it.
Hey, I like it like that. Go ahead, man. Show your tech savvy.
Yeah, I got to see where they got it at. But one of the things that brought this topic up to me was the fact that physical abuse, and the meme, and I'll find it shortly, that I found on Instagram was about women who have been through physical abuse now moving forward has set the bar so low to where it's just a matter of the nigga not beating on you. It's just a matter of the nigga treating you with the slightest bit of respect that makes you say, all right, he's a good man, because that nigga set the bar so low. So, I mean, Casey, if you don't mind sharing your story, you know, how do you feel about that?
Based on personal experience, I totally disagree.
Okay. Did we lose you, Case?
Relationship totally opposite. Like now, I'm on this high alert looking for.
Can you start again?
Yeah, we lost you for a second.
Oh, did you? Okay, I'm gonna pull over again.
All good.
Okay, so what I was saying was, I'm totally opposite from that, because I was in an abusive relationship, my bar, I think, is set higher because I'm always on alert, like looking for certain things.
Yeah.
Am I breaking up?
No, you're
No,
still
you
going.
good.
You're good.
You're doing well.
Okay. So I was in a very abusive relationship. And actually, I was talking to someone about this the other day, and I said, for me, I find that I don't, not that I don't date, but I don't, once I feel like someone's getting too close to me, then I shy away and I turn away. So I'm very nervous, especially seeing all these things that's happening in the news now with abuse and guys and people killing people and domestic violence and stuff like that. I was very lucky to get out of that, and so now I'm very scared to get close to anyone. So I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing, but my bar is kind of high because I may even have crazy expectations. I'm not sure, but
Right.
no, my bar is not low, not set low because of that. But I do agree that it's a lot of women that's out there that it's unfortunate, but their bar is set low because they do wish that just keep your hands to yourself, but you can do this and you can do that, and they let it slide. But that's just not, and that's very sad though.
Hey, Casey, I got a question for you. Do you think that the willingness, and so I'm going to talk, I'm assuming, I don't know this as a matter of fact, so listeners, this isn't a setup. I'm assuming, are you African American or Black?
I am. I am.
So do you primarily or solely date Black or African American men?
Yes.
Okay. So that's why I'm glad you said those things, because I want to ask you a question. I've heard this from sisters. I've heard it from white homegirls. I got Spanish homegirls. Do you think that Black folks, right? And I'm gonna lump Africans and African Americans and Caribbean folks. I'm gonna say Black folks in the States, Black men. They're already at a minority, right? I think African Americans are about 13 to 15% of the population, slightly less than Hispanics nowadays. And that's including totality, right? So that's men and women. So I guess, you could say that we're probably half of that. So men are, African-American women are, 5 to 7% of the population. You have a number of African-American men who are locked up. You got a number of them who are homosexual or prefer the company of men. And so that leaves you with heterosexual, available men. Do you think the fact that you primarily or solely go for African-American men puts you at a disadvantage when you're dating and you're looking for a partner? And and because of that, are you, because I want to link this back to the podcast, because of that, are you more likely to tolerate something from an African American man or a Black guy because there's such a dearth of them, right? There's such a small number of them available.
Yeah, I agree. Nice question.
Okay. So to answer the first question, yes, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage because I only date African American men. But would I put up with something just because because it's limited? No, I wouldn't. That's why I feel like I'm not a very good example for this because I'm willing, because of everything that I've gone through, I'm willing to not go through it again and not be serious with someone in a serious relationship if I have to put up with all of that. So basically, I'm okay with being by myself if I have to put up with the guys that beat on you or the guys that cheat on you or the guys that's not, that doesn't mean.
And it goes either way. I think it goes either way when these situations happen. You either set the bar low and let every nigga in the pussy, or you set the standard high and realize, I'm going to be okay without that level of intimacy. And then you find yourself doing maybe what you mentioned early, Casey, meeting a nigga, dating a nigga, fucking a nigga, right, because you want that vibe, you need that connection now, because ultimately you're okay with not getting it on a consistent basis in a long-term relationship. And a lot of men will agree to that arrangement and provide that type of attention temporarily. And that's where we always, I know this is off topic, where I think we find the problem, with good niggas, niggas that that I still want to say, for all intents and purposes, they have it all, because they have so many choices at that point, it makes it difficult for them to see and weed through even the good options that are right in front of them. You know what I'm saying? And I talked to a chick the other day, and I'm kind of curious, and we always go off topic, so I'm gonna ask you, Casey, would you say you value sex or conversation more? Sex, conversation, or and when I say conversation, I mean a vibe, you know what I'm saying? Or even physical attributes more. Would you rather have a man that meets your physical needs, or a man that visually provides you what you want, or a man that provides you with that vibe, that conversation, he fucking you in the mind all day long?
Okay. So to answer that question, let me just say this. I totally agree with what you said. So the old Casey, because I'm now 45, so the old Casey would have valued sex more because I didn't value myself. Because everything that I went through, then I was out there just saying, fuck it, I'm just gonna, sleep with who I want to. I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do whatever. But the new Casey, the 45-year-old Casey, who now knows that she's more valuable than that, I value conversation and, intimacy, but not sex. You know what I'm saying? Like someone that can get me excited mentally, and not just physically.
And emotionally, it's gonna trickle down to busting it open, Tatiana. I'm sure that I get what you're saying though. But
no, don't make no mistake. If I was in a relationship right now and we were on that vibe, yes, he'll be very well satisfied. But I'm saying, like, the old me would have not even wanted it. I wouldn't have cared about how he fed my mind. It wouldn't have mattered. Long as he was giving it to me how I wanted it. And
does that mean you'll fuck with an ugly nigga if the vibe is right? Looks go out the window for the right vibe. That's what I'm asking you.
At this point in life. But you mean at this point in life?
At this point in life, I'm asking you.
At this point in life now, would I mess with an ugly nigga if the vibe? Yes. Because I don't value looks like that anymore.
And you see this, there's good-looking niggas who are good niggas with their shit together. They never have to consider that thought.
Yeah.
You're right.
Never have to. I'll fuck with an ugly hoe. I don't give a fuck how great your vibe is, hoe. Something gonna shake. You know what I'm saying? But that's me. And perspective is everything, isn't it? Shit.
Right.
And I think one of the things that, Jezzy, I think you were talking about when you're talking about settling for less, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna settle back to the behaviors of violence again, right? Like you'll accept the next violent nigga or the next nigga that's verbally abusive or emotionally or financially abusive. But sometimes you'll settle for a man that, he ain't doing none of that stuff, but he ain't got no job. He said, but he dirty as hell. I'm talking about there's always cereal bowls left around on the counter on the living room table. Great. You know what I'm saying? He's still eating Lucky Charms and shit. You know what I'm saying? Nothing against people who eat Lucky Charms, but you know what I'm saying? There's other things that you're gonna settle for because you've lowered your standard as long as he doesn't have that specific attribute. You know what I'm saying? Do you agree with that, Casey, at least?
But if you get to where, and I have a lot of people in my corner that kept telling me, you deserve better. You deserve better. Once you get to that point, then you don't settle for those. Okay. Even the small things, you won't settle. And that's true. It's like I never thought I'd be in a situation where I'm like, you know what? I'd rather be by myself than settle for whatever. And it may be something small in someone else's eyes, but to me, it's a big deal. That's a no. So.
Yeah, and I agree with you because there's a lot of celebrities that have dealt with some form of domestic violence in some way, shape, or form, whether it be Halle Berry or Madonna or Rihanna or Tina Turner or Mariah Carey, and you're not gonna sit here and they're not going back to settling based off of the fact that they made it through an abusive relationship in any way, shape, or form. To your point, their radar's up, and if anything, their expectations has increased in some way, shape, or form. So I guess in some way, I can see your point of view. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, real quick, not to get off topic, it's just so crazy though. Like, I think there's a a myth that there's a certain type of woman that gets abused or allows herself to get abused or is in that situation. But you just mentioned three bad chicks, dog. Halle Berry, Bad Girl Riri, and Mariah Carey. I mean, like, for real. Then they all had to deal with that, and I think Halle on a number of occasions as well. You know, it's unfortunate that a bunch of fuck niggas have really, I think, hurt the mindset and the psyche of a lot of women out here. And it's allowing a lot of other fuck niggas to slide into that role because he's engaged in slightly less fuckery than the last dude, right? And so you talk about the bar being low, and it's just, you know, somebody with a daughter, man. This is really, really unfortunate. You know, it's like, is she gonna have to mess with some fuck niggas for the first half of her life, or is she gonna have to wait the first half of her life to find a nigga that's not a fuck nigga? You know what I'm saying?
My question is, in a way, you know, especially for Halle Berry, someone you think have they shit together and, you know, in every way solidify mentally, emotionally. How did you find more than multiple niggas to beat the shit out of you? Like, you get what I'm saying? So it to me, that's always been weird because you just happen to buck up on every nigga that, you know, and I don't want to say she's welcoming it or deserving in any way, but I'm just wondering what pattern exists that every nigga slapped the shit out of you.
But you know what, Jezzy? Like, that's not, I don't think that is difficult to find out. I mean, like, I don't know a lot of Halle Berry, and I haven't done research on her upbringing, but what I do know is she grew up in she was a biracial girl who grew up in a single parent household with her white mom who was a nurse. Dad was not in the picture. And so, you know, the thing about this, people think because she's rich and she a movie star, that shit that impacts people in a certain way where they don't grow up with a mom or a dad, particularly girls, and what that means for them in their future relationships with men. She's not immune to that shit because she ends up going to movies and shit. She still grew up as that little motherfucking girl who didn't have no daddy around, so now she's looking for the approval from niggas. Yeah. And I guarantee you that's part of it. I mean, she got 2 kids by another nigga, and that didn't work out either. She married a billionaire. They just got divorced. So she clearly got an issue. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'll fix it for her, though.
And
you would try.
No, you try.
I'll do whatever she wants.
I believe it. I believe booty. You know, that kind of transitions to the other forms of abuse, though, because emotional abuse is another method that really kind of leads to the bar being set low for men. I think a lot of women, and again, we keep saying women, and you know, it goes on both ends. I don't think
it's a trend now, man. Men are getting beat. It's. I know it's hard, dude.
No,
it's hard
no,
to.
It's not getting beat. Fuck niggas getting beat. Men is not getting beat.
Men are not getting beat.
I don't think that's a trend.
No, it's a real thing, guys, and it's weird, but it's almost like a form of codependency, which allows them to take whatever from that partner because they feel like they deserve it. But those individuals or those types of individuals are subject and more apt to actually getting physically abused. And the funny thing is, on abuse, man, they say that 96% of the people are likely to get all 3 abuses, not just one. If they get in the physical, they get in the emotional, they get in the mental, and they get in that financial forms of abuse. So it's not, you got to get the trifecta in abuse is kind of tough.
And emotional abuse is so funny because, you know, it's like training someone to love being mistreated. You know what I'm saying? So then if they ever do break that, the bar is so low in that one way, you know, because, oh man, that nigga would never let me speak. He never let me have an opinion. So any nigga that just listens to you, you'll let inside of your world, because ultimately all you ever wanted to do is be heard. That emotional abuse is just as damaging, you know, if not as long lasting as physical, you know.
Hey, I got a question. We never asked Casey this when we started the podcast, but for you, what is your right? If you got to, and I know this is kind of a cliche type of question, but if you had to say 3 to 5 qualities for you, I like to really go 3 or 4, but if you got 3 to 5 qualities for you that you must have in a man, you know, what are some things that you just can't do without, and then some things that you're willing to tolerate? And I'm going to assume that everything that's not in your top 5 are things that you're willing to tolerate, or they be in your top 5, right? So
that I'm willing to tolerate.
Yeah.
or that you need or that you want, right? Which I can give you an example if you want me to start it off. You know what I mean?
Go ahead.
So, in a woman for me, I need somebody that is able to take care of themselves with or without me, right? Your livelihood and your well-being does not depend on me. I augment that, I increase it, we increase each other's, and we work towards a common goal. So I need somebody that's not fully dependent on me.
What would be something that you can tolerate?
What do you mean?
That's what he's asking.
You said what you need. Now give her an example of what you would be willing to tolerate as far as
somebody who doesn't currently have a degree but is actively engaged in getting one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What
about a woman that can't cook?
No. Not if we're gonna be serious.
That's a no-go?
That's a definite no-go. I'm not even stuttering on that.
Every aspect is right. The vibe, the connection, spirituality,
everything.
Family,
and you saying can't cook shit.
So for let me tell you something. If you see the smile on both their faces, it's because they know how I look. Okay? And let me tell you something. Any woman that sees me and believes that cooking is not something that I will require in a relationship clearly has not been in many relationships. I'm a large man who enjoys eating good, well-cooked food. And if I'm going to be in a relationship with someone for any extended period of time, her inability to do that will be a problem. If she is willing to learn, she is willing to try recipes, she is willing to go to cooking classes. I'm all about supporting somebody who's willing to grow and learn. But she's like, yeah, I'm not a good cook and I don't like cooking. Well, bitch, I don't like you. Because
tell me how you really feel.
That's just what it is. Keep that real.
That's this question I'd really love to hear. What are the qualities you tend to look for?
Give it to us, Case.
Oh my God.
Damn rag on my face.
What comes to your mind?
Just start one. Just start with one.
You can't fail this
test.
So
let me tell you what I would not deal with.
All right.
One, I will not deal with someone who doesn't know how to control their anger. That's very important to me. I don't mind, I know we get into our. Am I out?
No, I said Dez is out.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you.
Control my anger. That's what y'all talking about.
Some could say you out, Gent.
I have to pull over again. I keep pulling over. Okay, so I don't know if you heard that, but I said that someone who doesn't control their anger, I can't deal with. It's okay that we're gonna have maybe arguments, disagreements. You're welcome to have your own opinion, but not knowing how to control your anger in those situations is a problem for me. Something else that I won't deal with.
You know what's funny though, and not to interrupt you, and I apologize, but that explains it all, Des. Her answer was not to say what
I know. Yeah,
her fucking answer was to say what she won't take. And that explains it all for the fuck. Dog, I'm telling you, if that wasn't the answer to this whole freaking question on the podcast, why is the bar set? That's the bar right there. Don't control your anger. What the fuck am I? 8?
Yeah.
You've been, my son's he can control his
anger. That's not on you, Casey. He's trying to make a point. It's not.
It's nothing to do with you. It's actually society. It's sad.
I agree with you guys. I totally agree with what he's saying. Like, I understand what he's saying. So maybe I'm looking at things differently now. I'm thinking like, well, maybe I have set the bar a little lower than it should be. Because that
unbeknownst to you,
self-reflection is good.
That is something that's very important.
Perfection. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at you for realizing that. We got to keep it real with ourselves. We all fucking up out here. Yeah. Every day we out here trying to learn and better ourselves. And to me, this is kind of what this is about. But the fact that you would start with what you won't take, it sets the bar. It just goes to show how low the bar is for men right now. Well, you take a hoe out to eat, you pay. You do that, you can hold a decent conversation. You don't yell at her. You have clean clothes on. Dog.
I know it sounds crazy.
It sounds insane, bro.
Listen, you don't even need that. You don't even need to have a fresh haircut, but you just gotta, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you lined yourself up that day. I don't know. My point of the matter is the bar is set so low, it's more about what you don't do now than it ever is about what you should have.
Dang, that fucked me up, dog. That fucked me up. I'm not even gonna lie.
That fucked me up too.
Let me ask a question though. are we? So here's a very interesting thing I'm going to say, and I don't mean to slight anyone who does not fall into this category, but you know us three often talk about, and we got another little homie, little light skinned homie. He's very small.
Don't
You
do
know,
don't do that nigga like that. Shout
well,
out to KP.
Don't
I didn't say his name. I didn't.
don't do
I know
K1
you
like
did.
that.
You was talking about. Shout out to KP, man.
But look, hey KP, Jeezy know I was talking about without saying your name, only with small description. But
Yeah.
anyways, we talk about this, right? We talk about how easy it is to get the attention and maintain the attention of a woman, and these are women that other dudes desire, and how it's very very easy for us to do. Should we want to do that? And I think it's interesting. Not to say that our dads have been perfect, you know what I mean, or our moms have been perfect, but interestingly enough, guys, KP, y'all, myself, what's the common denominator? First of all, we got parents that are still married. We got parents that are still married. Not like I said, not talking about that daddy was an angel, but we got parents that are still married and provided guidance for us as men. And even when my dad wasn't the best motherfucker around, dog, there was just some basic baseline shit him and my mom put in me that you just do. Like like you just do. I can't even go through all the stuff because it's part of who I am and part of how he raised me. And is it that there are a lot of men out there with a bunch of deadbeat ass dads, right, who don't have that guidance, and therefore they grow up to be fuck niggas and engage in fuckery, and that's the cycle that happens because those.
And Des, I agree. I agree.
Mhm.
I think you need to pull in even those males or females that their parents may not be together, but the parents are like actively involved in their lives.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I just think
No, but
I
good
think
points,
that,
man.
means something.
Yeah, between y'all two, between Jeezy and Des, man, y'all gave me an aha moment, man. So I mean, I appreciate that. Like I felt like I just learned something. So what's the next?
Like if you keep it that perspective, Gent, you'll never, as a man, hesitate to approach a woman.
Hell
Because
no.
now it's more.
I don't
less,
have that in me anyway.
Like it's more like.
No, he definitely don't.
Yeah,
He
so if
definitely
you know
don't.
you're not a killer, you know what I'm saying, you're not a pervert, and you got a shot, because all women really want is a good vibe, good conversation, and like security, dog. You make a hoe feel like it's, you know what I'm saying, you all right with me, dog, nigga. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And I think for especially good-looking people, this is hard to hear, that it doesn't even matter how good you look. You heard it first here. Casey said it. She'll fuck with an ugly nigga right now if that nigga vibe was right.
Hey, I disagree with you.
Ugly nigga. You know, the thought of an ugly nigga right now is hard to look at. But she gonna be with that nigga because the vibe is right. The vibe is rare. No, I needed him to be real ugly for my point, Casey. I need him to be real ugly.
Jeezy, I disagree with you on it too, because I think, you know, and I think to Casey's point, I think she's thinking when she says ugly, she's probably thinking about her ideal guy, like than what her middle range look guy and what the bottom basin guy looks like. But I don't think she's talking about ugly like we talking about. And I think right. And I think that, and I think there's some women, like there's still women out there, like, here's the thing though. I think there's women out there that'll be like, you can have all that, and if you don't look a certain way, they still not fucking with you. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, to your point, everyone has a baseline, bro. I mean, most people should have a point that you don't go over, right?
Isn't she lovely?
You don't always have to mention that, man. You know, I had one small lapse of judgment, and I feel like I'm continually paying for it for the rest of my life. Jeezy, on that point, can we continue? Don't comment, Jeezy. Just continue
for the rest of your life.
Just continue to the next point, man. You don't have to comment on that.
Nigga, at one point your bar was low for no reason. You were too young to have a bar that low, nigga.
It was true. I knew him then.
I asked you to move on, and you still just.
You know, all right. So before we wrap up, I want to bring up. I think another reason why the bar is low is self-esteem issues. I don't think it's entirely. You know, you can have self-esteem issues that stem obviously from forms of abuse, verbal, emotional, etc.
Yep.
But I think some of this is just themselves. You know, there are a lot of women and men who are overweight and they feel some type of way about it, but they do nothing about it. So those self-esteem issues is like, you know what? Shit, this is all I can get. But the fact of the matter is that's how they feel, because that's how they feel about themselves. You know what I mean? Whether it's their looks. Dude, if you ever talk to some women and you've watched some TV, do some research, there are a lot of women that don't think they're good looking. A lot of
even
those,
when they are.
A lot of those women are ugly as fuck.
That's the point I like the point that Des is making. So whether they are actually beautiful and don't see themselves or there's people like Lizzo who you just mentioned, oh, you can control your weight as a form of improving your self-esteem, but she has no interest in that, right? And she has, at least what she's portrayed to the public, is that she has a ton of self-esteem, way more than most, right? So I feel, Des, don't shake your head,
because Des is right.
No, hold on now, because there's a bunch of Instagram models that are big and getting 100,000 views a week, dog, and they loving themselves. They loving their bigness for the fact of the attention that it's giving them. So how do you telling me that may be a self-esteem issue?
Gent, you too old. Okay, and I ain't saying you old, but you've been on the earth long enough to know that the nigga liking your post don't mean he would take you out to a nice restaurant and chauffeur you around in his arm for any extended period of time.
Well,
there's a lot of niggas out here, like there's bitches out here right now. She just got dropped off at home early, right? And she like, oh, you know, he really liked me. He took me out to Red Lobster. We went to the movies. Like, it was a good night, da 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 da. Let me tell you why you're home at 9 o'clock. Because when he realized you wasn't fucking him tonight, he figured he had to line up another option. He's not home. You are, but he's not home. And so let me say this. We talking about Lizzo. And I want to make this clear. I'm not talking about no big girls, nobody who's overweight. Look, I got a mom and she got some pounds on her. Okay, so I'm not making any aspersions. What I'm saying is that Lizzo is famous and she got lots of money, and so you'll find niggas, good-looking niggas that'll date her. If Lizzo worked at Walmart on third shift, she would have
third shift.
She have a busted ass nigga just like everybody else.
Busted ass nigga, dog. Real tight. And it wouldn't be no nigga you'd be bragging about, to be
not at all.
More than likely. And I think that some of those plus size models love what they do. Some of them do it because shit. Why not use what you have to
it's the only attention they're gonna get
to earn a living? But some of the hoes also are on bullshit. I know a lot of women that'll say, yeah, no, I'm big and it's whatever, yada, and they embrace it. But then 2 days later, they crying in the bathroom and they low key. So a lot of that shit, you know, the self-confidence, that shit is lying. They faking it till they make it or hoping, but that's not how they really feel.
Casey, how do you feel about this, Casey? How do you feel about what
I feel like it's I totally feel like it's a self-esteem issue. Most times, but I feel like people like Lizzo, even if she didn't have the money, I think she probably would still be, you know, as confident as she is. I really do. But it is like me in my situation. I feel like I didn't realize my worth based on everything I went through. So I had a big self-esteem issue. So I did settle for some things. I did do some things that I didn't, you know, I probably shouldn't have, you know, or been with some people that I probably shouldn't have based on my self-esteem. And now I know better. You know, I'm not the smallest person, but I'm okay and I'm confident in me now. So I feel like now I would not settle, but I think it's a self-esteem issue, you know, for the most part. That's why people settle for or the bar is so low, or, you know, you don't have to do this, but you know, but if you just do that, I feel like that's true.
It's real low.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's just so low, I don't even know. Like, it's like easy money out in the streets, they say. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
like,
my God.
It just makes no sense, man. And maybe it's just me, but, you know, I just don't foresee a world where the bar should be set that low. And again, it's different from a man's perspective than a woman, and this is kind of why I thought this topic was more important, because it's the bar that's low for a man. The bar for a woman is high as fuck. Like, if you really think about what makes me say I'm going to keep you around, nigga, that bitch got to goddamn do everything, bitch.
So special.
Oh, my fucking God.
Get the mobile it, man?
Yeah, listen, and you meet a bitch and she says she don't do it, you almost got to laugh at her and say, you don't do it. Oh, girl, your sister will do it, bitch. Your cousin will do it. God damn it, give me that hoe.
Gigi, did you hear what I said when y'all talked about the cooking thing? I said, why would I settle for a woman who couldn't cook when I could find a woman just as fine, just as much of a cat who can cook? Yeah. Why would I settle? Because I don't have to. I'm not in that position, and I don't limit myself. So Yo, the smorgasbord is fully open.
And I hear from our point of view, but I know a bunch of women, and so I don't want to leave this thing pigeonholing all women in this category, because there's a bunch of women that actually is, over 40 or, at 40 or close to it, that absolutely has high expectations and will not settle, will not date for long, will shop around like it's window shopping until she finds something that is worth her.
Everything to the table. I have no doubt.
But Gent, and there's niggas out here that's 7 feet 2 inches, but you don't see them that much either, right? So I hear what you're saying. Like,
right,
there's
that bitch does exist though.
There's women out there that feel that way. Yeah. But you talking about a special few. You talk about the minority. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, they will get lonely. I think people will get lonely at some point and make some decisions, right? We all make bad decisions when we're up against the line. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes,
Feeling lonely.
Hey, listen. Let me get a little story, dog. Like, I know someone who is a white woman, around 50 years old, who is got white kids and been married to white dudes and dated white dudes, and she got a little weight on her. She probably got a little probably 40, 50 pounds on her. She about 50, 51. Yo, the pond looking real scarce. The fish is not biting at her bait. And so, dog, she said, dog, like, she about to start dating black dudes. Because
you see how she said that shit? Like that shit is a last resort. Fuck you.
God damn.
Whatever you are, bitch.
What's crazy?
Black nigga, fuck your
You know what's crazy?
Ass.
Let me say what's crazy. So, like, she's one of those white women who is a little thicker and got the big maybe big breasts or whatever. And so she's like, oh yeah, black guys think I'm really attractive. I just never really thought about it, but maybe I should give it a try. What that is the white boys that she really would want to hit on is not hitting on her. So to your point, yeah, it's like, okay, let me open that up. And that's why I asked Casey that stuff at the beginning, because you got Chinese dudes, you got Spanish dudes, you got white dudes, you got black dudes, you got Arabs, you got everything, right? So when you say I'm only talking to black dudes, and I'm not hating on you, right? Because sister, I'm about as black as they come, right? So I ain't hating on you. But what I'm saying is, then there's automatically a known that you're limiting yourself off the top, because everything is not going to be available to you because you're not even looking for white dudes and Spanish dudes. You know what I mean? So
we're winning because we are dipping into every fucking pond. Asian, Caucasian, Hispanic, goddamn it, Middle Eastern nigga, we'll fuck any bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And all them bitches cook. All them bitches suck dick too, ho. So every time you think about telling your nigga no, ask yourself. And you can tell me no now, or you can, tell yourself yes later when you buy your fucking self.
God dang, Jezzy.
You know what I'm saying? Nigga ain't gonna be sticking around too much longer. I tell you though, honestly, as a good nigga these days, you shouldn't even take no. You know they say no means no. Like, really no? Okay, all right. I'll never see you again then. You know what I'm saying? Like a nigga can boast like, I'm not taking that no, bitch.
Jezzy ain't lying, dog. Listen, ladies, if you're listening to this, I cannot be more sincere. Be very, very careful when telling your man or dude you're interested in no. Whether that's sex, whether that's cooking, whether that's picking up his fucking dry cleaning. Be very, very careful. Because if he really, really wants you, no, honestly, if he really, really wants you, he might allow you a few no's. But if you want stuff of not being around, a couple of no's that have your ass ghosted. So just be very careful. Do you, boo? But no. He won't.
And you know what's funny about no's and yeses? If you tell a nigga no too often to sex, that nigga disappear. But if you tell a nigga no too often for sex, that nigga might disappear, bitch. It's a fucking game out there. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hit or miss. Let's keep it real, because men love the chase. So to me, the best relationships are the ones where the women understand that, and they foster an environment where, yes, that nigga has me, but I'm gonna make this nigga feel like he gotta work for it. And it's simple shit. You know what I'm saying?
That's balance right there.
Putting on a little lingerie, twerking for your man. Treating your nigga like a stranger sometimes. You see, a lot of times we get into the monotonous routine and shit. Switch it up on a nigga. And when a nigga starts seeing that shit make a nigga wanna, like, damn, man, I got the whole, she doing this. So I really think, and it's hard work, ladies. I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you it's easy work. You say you want one nigga. You want a nigga to say, ignore every piece of easy pussy and just come home and fuck me. But then you want the work to be easy at home. Fuck you, bitch. You lazy ass bitch. Get your ass up and do something for your fucking self. Okay? You want a nigga, do something. God damn it. Talk about it's too much work, but you want a nigga. Well, bitch, that's why you're by yourself. So what is it gonna be? Don't complain.
There's a Jezzy nugget just took place.
You know what I'm saying? You can't get it both ways. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'd like to thank Casey for joining. Casey, I'm sorry for the the tail end rant from Jezzy, but we definitely appreciate the conversation. Thank you for allowing some vulnerability and kind of telling your story, and you probably did help someone understand that at the end of the day, you don't have to repeat the cycle, right? And we'll have some information on domestic violence and down below, whether on YouTube or whether you're watching or listening from another podcast platform. But you amaze me, and I celebrate you, Casey, for who you are now and who you're continuing to grow into. Keep your bar high, though, Case. Yeah. Because I mean, I know that they basically indicated that, hey, this is the general trend line. But let me just tell you, you don't gotta be a statistic, okay?
I gotta be honest with you, and I know we're closing this out, so I don't know how to end this, but I'm gonna be me. I don't know if you can fucking raise the bar at this time.
Jesus have mercy.
I don't know if you can raise the bar as a woman. I don't know what power you possess. If you're a bad bitch, yes, your bar is already by default higher. You can't raise your shit no higher. You know what I'm saying? You can, but you're willing to take the L. That's fine. A lot of chicks, I don't care, fuck that nigga. Yeah, I'm sure you feel that way 365. You know what I'm saying? I doubt it. So I don't know if the average regular woman can really raise her bar.
And I'm gonna disagree with you, because there are many people that are willing to step up to the plate, and there's many people that are willing to elevate their mindset, and as long as you put your line in the sand and understand what you have to offer, someone is going to be a taker. I'm not going to put it out there in the fact that every woman's going to have to sit here and settle in that capacity. I will agree with you holistically that the larger part of the standard deviation of the bell curve could fall into that category. But everything got some outliers.
Look at the numbers, nigga. Look at the numbers, dog. And what the thing that Casey said and that Des said, and I know I'm not trying to open it back up, but with the low percentages of African Americans and the fact that most black women don't date out of their race.
Correct.
Most don't. And most Hispanic and black and other cultures, they will date out of race, specifically black men. Man, y'all losing us. You know what I'm saying? Y'all losing us. So boy, I don't even know. I don't even have advice. This is the first time on the podcast. Y'all heard it first. I don't got nothing for you out here in this motherfucker, because the truth of the matter is, shit, it's hit or miss. You got to hope you get lucky out here. This shit Russian roulette.
Not Russian roulette.
All I can say is be the best version of you, boo. Y'all be the best version of you. That's all you can do. And if a nigga gonna fuck with you, he gonna fuck with you. If he not, he keep it moving. That's it.
By your fucking self, keep it
moving. Hey, Jezzy. You had yeah.
No, that's your worst. That's the worst part. Like, if a nigga don't fight, like, that's tough. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's like you.
You're not. We got to take you off this right now. So
yeah, we heard.
Yeah. So either way, man. Hey, find us on YouTube. We'll have the video on YouTube. Find us on any of the available podcast platforms. We're on everything. On our socials, man. Find us on Facebook. Find us on Instagram at Brunch with Boys. If you want to add in a topic of any sort or ask us any questions, you can find us at brunch.with.boys@gmail.com. We appreciate all our listeners. We've had a bunch of listeners on recently that are loyal to Brunch with the Boys, man, and we've had them at the table, and it's been really enjoyable, guys. So thank you.
I want to put something out there too. If y'all got other podcasts y'all listen to and y'all like, man, Brunch with the Boys would be great with these ladies, or some other dudes y'all fuck with, or whoever it is, you ever got some suggestions, let us know, man. Say, hey, look, y'all really need to check them out. Y'all should link up with them and do something joint. So we always trying to expand. We also always trying to grow the brand and grow the ecosystem, right? This Black podcast system. So we appreciate y'all. Let us know what we don't know. Stay real. Be yourself.
For real. Hold it down.
Gang.
Yes. Not gang. Thanks, Casey.
Thanks, Casey.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Toodles.
Not toodles.